file a motion to get that there, but it's over then. You cannot take a councillor to court over a council decision. That premise of it being a council decision and having nothing to do with Santa was something that Mary Roy, who is not a lawyer, but I'm sure will be articling soon, came up with early in the game. And I can honestly say the reason I've won so far is for a number of reasons. It's number one, I had a very good lawyer who was able to identify these rules, and he was also willing to work without pay. I gave him initial retainer fee of around $8,500, but he worked non-stop for over a year without being paid because he believed in what I was doing, and he believed that eventually he would get paid, I assume. I was also very fortunate to have two councillors working on my behalf because they believed this was wrong, and that was Councillor Mary Roy and Councillor Betty Kennedy. I was also fortunate because I was a councillor. Okay? If this happened to the average individual employee in the city of Thunder Bay, and I'm sure it has happened, okay, they can't go in there and access the materials I could. So I could show up on risk management's door and say, I want to see this paper. I'm a councillor, you give it to me. If you did that as an employee, they would spin you around out the back door and you wouldn't have that defense. So that's why I was fortunate enough to get this far and win. The opinion you see here, and you can take, and there's extra copies, and I've had over 1,000 printed out, and I want you to hand them out to anybody and everybody you can. There are a lot of people, a lot of supporters who go out there and defend Santa. I would just assume you did not. Just give them this and let the city solicitor defend. Okay? Getting into legal fees, and I don't know, did anybody see the Shaw broadcast when my lawyer spoke and did the deputation? Just show of hands. A few people saw it. Well, he was talking about, there's a handout here, I don't know if you got it tonight. He's talking about the cost of legal opinion involving the Santa matter. There's also the Santa McRae matter. And you'll notice that this is stamped, this is my copy, it's stamped at the top. Confidential, Councillor Orville Santa, and then it's stamped confidential again. I assure you, there's nothing on this sheet that is confidential. It's spending the taxpayers' money, and you should be able to go to City Hall and request a copy, and they should give it to you. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they're supposed to give you a copy. If you take a look at the totals here, you've got approximately $172,500 in legal opinion deciding whether I was covered or not, and dealing with some of the matters involving Councillor Roy, Kennedy, and Santa against Mr. McRae, the former city manager. The two items at the bottom are for my attorney, Mr. Francis Thatcher, when he defended me when I was under attack from Ken Odzes and the city clerk, Elaine Belita, for defamation of character. Those two bills there relate to a February application he had to deliver on my behalf. The interesting thing here is if you turn to page 2 of this other sheet, which is called Chronology of Events Surrounding Santa Legal Issues, and this is what Councillor Timko was requesting. I'll make sure he gets a copy. If you turn to November 21st, this is a letter, these are excerpts from a letter from the city's insurance lawyer, David Ariu, to, the city risk manager, Gary Henry. This is, in November, the city clerk, Elaine Belita, had filed a paper against me. She hadn't served me at that time. She had sent a letter from her lawyer saying that she didn't like what I had on my internet site, and she thought it was defamatory, and they requested that I would pull it off my internet and thereby doing all proceedings against me would stop. I indicated to them that I would not do that because everything that I had said was true. Then there was a little bit of a write-up in the paper, and then I think in late November, early December, she finally served me. So this is a letter dated November 21st from the city lawyer, David Ariu, to risk manager Gary Henry. And I won't read it all for you, but the underlying part is that if he wants to gain that protection, he's referring to my insurance protection now. He must provide to the insurer or to you notice of any occurrence which can give rise to a claim. And then he goes on and on and on. What he says is, go and talk to Santa, get the claim, send it to the insurance company. The insurance company has a duty to defend. And he keeps on saying that. And he says it no more than a dozen times. This is an order for the insurance company to hire my lawyer to protect me for the things I say. If you don't do that within a 90-day period, the insurer can tell you to go for a walk, and then all of you pick up my legal costs. This is also clear in the Audson's case when I was served on June the 18th, 2001, and I represented myself right up till January, a period of 7 months. As you'll go through this chronology, they have the application 3 days after it's filed with the court. They probably have the application before I'm served with it. It's in their hands. The city solicitor, the insurance solicitor, says, when you've got this, just throw it to the insurer. Don't make a decision. Throw it to the insurer. We pay $57 per counselor per year for this type of insurance. But you have to be there in 90 days. You have to report something in 90 days. He lets it go 7 months. And then, if you take a look at the January 22nd correspondence on page 3, and you read the January 22nd correspondence, Mr. Ariu, the city solicitor, now seems exasperated. Because what he's saying is, you've waited 7 months to file Santa's claim with the insurer. The city pays a premium so that Santa and other counselors are covered. You've waited 7 months. Why are we paying a premium if you aren't going to file a claim?